Hey, happy Monday. Hey, wait a minute. It's not, it was, wait, yesterday was Monday. It's Tuesday. So how do you do manufacturing Monday motivation on a Tuesday? But guys, happy Tuesday, everybody. Hope everyone had an amazing, incredible, wonderful, safe holiday weekend. Boy, just a great day to spend time with the family and laugh and love and all those great things. I am super excited. First off, I'm missing my partner in crime. Damon is off with family this week. And so Damon, we send our love to you, brother. Know you're having a great time with mom, hanging out with the family. I am honored and privileged to have two amazing, incredible guests today from none other than IMEC, the Illinois MEP. We're going to take a deep dive here. So I have Paola Velasquez. I have Simone Walker from IMEC. Simone, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Happy Tuesday to you. Paola, how are you? Happy Tuesday. How are you today?
Doing great. Thank you.
Paola, how was your weekend? Did you have a nice holiday weekend?
Yeah, it was good. Relaxing.
Any fun, excitement, family, anything good? Anything?
Barbecue.
Simone, how about you? Did you have a nice holiday weekend?
I did. I actually went to Colorado this weekend.
Oh, you went to Colorado. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
In the Boulder area.
Oh, I was just there a week ago. We're gonna have to talk offline. I was just in Boulder. We did some hiking over the trail, and it was just absolutely wonderful. Boy, Boulder is a wonderful city. All right, we'll have to geek out after the program. So, all right, let's start off, Simone. Since I have you on stage, you're at the plate. Let's take a deep dive. Marketing specialist here at IMEC. Your program coordinator. Boy, you've been just rocking it with some amazing, incredible webinars, programs. Doing a great job doing marketing services for IMEC. Share a little bit about you have a fascinating background, and I'd like to could you just share a little bit? You've high tech, a lot of social media. Talk about your walk of life and how we got here.
Sure. So I went to DePaul University where I majored in marketing with a concentration in sales leadership and a minor in industrial organizational psychology. My first job out of college was doing sales at CDW. I learned that sales was not for me, so I transitioned over into marketing at another tech company, and that is where I really honed my skills in social media marketing, event marketing, content creation, all of it. From there, I went over to Bathfitter, where I did event management for a couple of years. And then I was a content creator for a company called Blue. They're a tech platform. My job there was to engage people on the platform. And then after that, I did freelance for a couple of years. And then now I'm at IMEC, 4 years now.
Oh, that's awesome. So, hey, great to have you here. Thank you so much. I know you're super busy, Simone. So thank you for taking the time. Paola, you have a fascinating career as well, a little different path that you took. If I'm not mistaken, University of Northern Illinois, master's at Kent State. So, boy, great college choices there. Then you have a little fun manufacturing story that we're going to share, but you've also had an illustrious, wonderful career in healthcare. Can you just talk a little bit about your background, your walk of life, and how you got up to this stage?
Sure. So I was introduced to manufacturing actually at a very young age. Both of my parents worked and retired from manufacturing. In fact, when I migrated to the United States at a young age, and with my parents and several aunts and uncles also followed, and they all worked in manufacturing. Right out of high school, I actually worked in manufacturing. I worked in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. I worked on night shifts. And then on some Saturday mornings, I would go with my mom to another manufacturer. We'd go very early and we'd stand in line, hoping that they needed workers for the day. And then depending on how many workers, if we were the first ones in line, we would be selected and we would work that Saturday. So it was great for me because I went to college and it really helped pay my first year of college. I earned my bachelor's in business and Spanish translation. I have a master's in translation studies, and that helped me teach. I went into teaching. I taught Spanish, English as a second language, bilingual GED, and then I also interpreted and helped communities that were underserved. And I did that for many years. I actually did that when I was a child. I started doing that because my parents didn't speak English. So I started doing that for them, doing it for friends, was pulled in my high school to do it for immigrants that were coming into the United States. So just been doing that my whole life. You mentioned healthcare. Yes, I was in healthcare. I was there for many years. I supported or I had oversight of several support departments. And then I also led several diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, although that was not my main responsibility. That was more of something that I loved to do, a passion I had, and I started doing it on the side. And then I just started getting more responsibility with it. So by the time I left healthcare, I had oversight of 3 hospitals, and I was helping lead some of those initiatives in those hospitals. But I've been with IMEC for 9 months, and I'm really excited because I was able to come back to manufacturing. And I just think that the fact that I was in different industries and have different experiences, I could bring a different perspective.
That is absolutely, man, what a great story. I absolutely love that. You're going, look what manufacturing did for you on the early stages, brought your folks here, came to the States and, kicked things off. You just mentioned you paid for college, and you and mom are showing up to the manufacturers on Saturdays, getting first in line. And just what an absolutely amazing story. Guys, if you're dropping by, hey, Diane, happy Tuesday to you. Thank you for joining us. Gary, thank you for joining us. If you're out there, drop us a note, drop us a hello, let us know that you're out there. Also, absolutely, please connect with Paola and Simone. We have a lot to cover here today. We're going to take a deep dive. Simone, you're talking about your background, heavy tech, and, we're hearing Paola's story. One question that I always love to kick off with, and Paula, I'm going to come back at you. Maybe you covered it a little bit. Simone, when you were a young girl growing up, okay, you got into tech, you go to DePaul University, great university. When you were a young girl growing up, who was your hero? Who was your hero that you looked up to, that maybe had a big imprint and kind of helped pave your path? Who was your hero growing up?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I would say, I haven't thought about this in a while, Kurt. This is a softball you threw?
That's the slider that I had for you.
Okay. I would say Maya Angelou, just because of how she grew up and all that she persevered and how she came out on top, and just her grit. That's what she was my hero.
Awesome. That is a thank you. Great answer. Paula, maybe you answered it. You're talking about mom and dad. It sounded like they were a great inspiration, manufacturing. Little girl growing up, you're in, hitting manufacturing in Chicago. Who were your heroes growing up?
Mm-hmm. I guess I would say it would be my parents too. Just and I guess I should have gotten my Kleenex ready for this question, right? So the fact that they left their home country, not knowing the language, the culture, and to come here just with that thought of, we're coming here to make a better life for my children eventually, but my child, and give her those opportunities that we didn't have. I think seeing their struggles and the things that they went through, to me, that was just made a huge impact on my life and made me want to do more and give back.
Yeah. And boy, and you certainly are. What's mom and dad's name?
Miriam and Alvaro.
Okay, excellent. And just think of the courage it takes to leave a home country, family, friends, maybe, stability or whatever. And they wanted to have a better life and came to, the States and Chicago, and just what an inspiration. And I'll tell you, there are millions and millions of these stories across generations of what manufacturing can do for families, turn it into a higher, you bring it into a different class, educate yourself, as you said, Paula, go off to college. This is just, man, great inspiration here. So, all right, guys, let's take a deep dive here. So now we're with the, before we get into this MEP thing in IMEC, Simone, I have another question I want to come back to, and hopefully this is a softball for you. So high tech, CDW, massive company. If you look at, you guys connect with Simone on LinkedIn, and a lot of social media marketing are your superpowers. Now you bring your skills and your talents to manufacturing. What attracted you to manufacturing?
It wasn't necessarily about manufacturing at first. It was about doing meaningful work, because I don't believe in just pressing the keyboard just to press the keyboard. It's not satisfying. It's not fulfilling. It won't last long. And you won't do your best work. So I was searching for a company that had a strong mission. I came across IMEC, and I learned a lot about manufacturing in the industry. And the more I learned, the more into it I got, and the more dedicated I am. So that is how I got into manufacturing or cared about manufacturing.
Okay, that might be, for people that check out our show, I always have like we call them either like moments or silence or drop the mic moments. We've already had a couple there, so that find aligning yourself. It wasn't so much manufacturing, but of course, manufacturing is really what you brought your superpowers to. But it was like just coming in for a cause. I absolutely love that, Paula. I'm going to fire the same question at you. You kick off. You had a great background with mom and dad, manufacturing, what it did for you, for your family. However, you brought your superpowers to healthcare. You're a community builder, did with translation and everything that you've done with your wonderful career. What brought you back to manufacturing after a nice career in healthcare?
Yeah, I think in healthcare, I was there for many years, and we had an established initiatives around diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I really wanted to come back more to the basics. I always said that I wanted to return to manufacturing. Just again, it was a great. There was a lot of stability within manufacturing for my parents. Placed food on our table, just amazing in that piece. But I also saw some things that I thought were missed opportunities. And one is, I think, is the opportunity to highlight manufacturing as a career. I love to see that shift in mindset for the production line workers when they're working in manufacturing. I want them to see it as a career, not just a job.
Yeah.
And I love to see them encourage their children, their nieces, their nephews to join manufacturing. I think of when I was working in manufacturing, some of the workers, my colleagues at that time, would tell me stories about their children going to college, their children, but they didn't share the stories about manufacturing. And I think that was a missed opportunity. If there was that encouragement about the opportunities, the advancements, the skill building within manufacturing, I possibly could have taken a different career path. I may have stayed within the industry. I don't regret the path I took, and it's exciting that I've come back, but I do think that that was an opportunity missed.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And boy, God bless you for bringing your talents, your superpowers back to manufacturing. And, I've had the honor and privilege of connecting with you on a number of things, and we're going to dig into that in a few minutes here. So for anybody out there, again, please connect with Paula and Simone here. We're talking about IMEC. Now, IMEC is part of the Manufacturing Extension Partnership Program network, if you will. And Simone, what is the MEP network? What is Manufacturing Extension Partnership?
Yeah, so the MEP network is, like you just said, the Manufacturing Extension Partnership National Network. It's a part of a federal program that's part of the NIST, National Institute for Standards and Technology. And they enable centers like IMEC to be able to provide the necessary resources to help manufacturers grow, reach their goals. And there is a center in every single state, and IMEC is Illinois' MEP center.
Perfect. Okay, and just kind of recap. So today we're going to be talking about the MEP in the great state of Illinois. However, you're coming to us from a different state. There is an MEP near you. As a matter of fact, Diane, our dear friend, she's with TAC, the TAC centers, which I know they work closely with a lot of the MEPs. Diane, again, thank you for joining us today. But the MEP centers, as Simone just said, there's one in all 50 states. And even some of the states, like here in New York, where I'm at, Pennsylvania, Ohio, there's numerous MEPs based on geography. Now, in Illinois, you guys are IMEC. You have one center, but boy, you cover the entire state, top to bottom. Mm-hmm. And if I'm not mistaken, probably 50 people strong, give or take. I've had the honor and privilege of working with a number of the amazing folks. What an all-star team that Dr. Dave Belay has put together at IMEC. So I don't know if either one of you want to kind of slide into this. Simone, I'll start with you. Just share a little bit about what is IMEC and what's going on. And then Paula, I'll come down to you and we'll hit some of those programs that you're working on.
Yeah, IMEC is the Illinois Manufacturing Excellence Center. And we are a team of about 50 industry experts, like you just said, with the common goal to ignite manufacturing excellence in Illinois, and we help companies build global competitiveness. We are a one-stop shop with all the resources for manufacturers to excel in all the areas of their business, from leadership to workforce to operations and everything in between. Last year alone, we assisted over 1,600 companies and to successfully improve and innovate their projects. And we consistently demonstrate a ROI that exceeds 19 to 1.
Okay, we need to back up and recap that, Simone. Did I hear you correctly? I'm an older guy, so I got to make sure I got these. 1,600. Did you say 1,600 manufacturers?
Yes.
Is that the impact that you had? So with the MEP centers, and we're here today at Illinois with with IMEC. You have an impact. You've touched and helped and improved 1,600 manufacturers. I mean, when you can let that number sink in. And what was the other number that you mentioned?
Our ROI exceeds a 19-to-1 consistently.
19-to-1. So if I'm not a math major, but if I give you $1, you're giving me 19 back. Do I have that close, right? Diane, back me up on my math here, right? 19-to-1. Do I have? So I didn't even need to take my socks and shoes off for that one, Simone. So 19-to-1, that is absolutely powerful. So let's talk a little bit about, Simone, talk about some, and we're going to go back and forth. We're going to get a tennis match going here, but talk a little bit about some of the programs that you guys offer at IMEC and some of the workshops that are going on here.
Yeah, we have a ton of events that has happened that are coming up. A lot of webinars. Some are we're starting to go back to in person. But besides the events, we have a bunch of different programs that help manufacturers to get projects going that they don't necessarily have the financial resources to do.
Right.
We have a bunch of different grants. You just participated in one that we just concluded, the Grow Your Future.
Yeah.
We have similar ones coming up that are in the process. But right now, if people are interested in learning how to take some advantage of some of the resources, our website has everything up to date. And on the events page, that's where a lot of our programs are that you are participating with us in.
Absolutely. So, Paola, let's get in the game here. So, all right, you brought your skills, superpowers, you mentioned 9 months ago. So, boy, congratulations. Time flies when you're having fun, almost coming up on a 1-year anniversary. Again, you wanted to get back into manufacturing. And so, what attracted you to IMEC? And then I'd love for you to share, through COVID, I think every manufacturer, every small business in the country has been suffering with workforce challenges and so on and so forth. So it's just wonderful of what your mission is. What attracted you to IMEC, and then slide into some of the programs that you're working on?
Yeah, so I was familiar with IMEC actually. As I mentioned, I was in healthcare, but I was familiar with IMEC for their process improvement initiatives around the Baldrige framework. So I actually received training, I think 2 years in a row through IMEC. So I can bring that framework to the organization I was at. So I was familiar with them. I loved what they stood for. And so that was one of the reasons why I was attracted to IMEC. And then through the interview processes, I always say that their interview process was amazing. They invest time into interviewing someone because they want to make sure that person's the right fit for the organization. And when I say right fit, that the person could bring their talents and skills and be able to implement them and help other manufacturers. So that's what I mean when I say right fit. They just want to find the place that the person can use their niche, their skills to help others. And so that's why they invest that time. And so I love that part of it. So I thought if they take that time to really learn more about the people they're interviewing, then that's an organization I want to be at. So that's one of the things that I liked.
Well, I love that. And again, we're getting, so Diane says, boy, great numbers. And then, hey, welcome Sudhir. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. 1,600 manufacturers, and you're getting a standing applause there. So again, great job. Simone, you mentioned the Grow Your Future program. And yes, and what an honor and privilege of working with the team at IMEC. And I want to get into some of your teammates. Boy, and I'm going to be disappointed myself because I'm sure we'll leave some folks out. But you guys took on an aggressive, an amazing grant program, and it was called Grow Your Future. And it was to help manufacturers figure out this whole digital marketing and get the sales pipeline going. Can you talk a little bit about that program? If I'm not mistaken, I think it was over 125 manufacturers that you had a positive impact on. Can you just share a little bit for folks out there that are new to, I'm a manufacturer, and I'm like, man, where have you been all my life, Simone? I want to get involved in this. Just share a little bit about the success you found with that Grow Your Future program.
Yeah, so that was more of a Michelle project. I was more professional. I don't know all the details about it. But I will tell you that the program itself was designed to help manufacturers to grow their business, as it's called. And we offered trainings to help them to get their business to show up online, to grow their social media platforms, to get found with SEO practices, build out their website, and to generate and build a successful online e-commerce store. That was the gist of the project, but to get all the details, that's in Michelle's.
Well, and you know what? For a shameless plug, if you guys go to B2B Tal, we interviewed we're talking about Michelle Fawcett. Boy, is she amazing. Melissa Zerbel, boy, and we Noah and Christy Johns, and boy, another Melissa. You guys have just such an incredible team. We Ray Zagano just joined your team as a dear close friend of mine, and so I know we could go on. And again, the leadership from Dr. David Belay, and I just it's just off the charts. And Paula, as you talk about, like, you talk about such an enthusiasm. It's almost like you talk about IMEC as like a family member. Talk about, like, now you're 9 months in, so they won you over with the culture and what was going on. Now that you're 9 months in, share like your enthusiasm for IMEC and how you bring that enthusiasm to your manufacturers.
Sure. I think that's one of the things that I love about IMEC is you could bring your whole self to work. You can share your ideas. You're listened to. It's a very welcoming environment. Yeah. Prior to even joining the organization, very welcoming. People reaching out and just excited about me joining via LinkedIn. They send messages and so forth. So that to me was just very encouraging. And I wish to see that replicated within manufacturers. So when I meet with a manufacturer, I just love to hear about their culture, what they're doing. I love to highlight the great things that they're currently doing, because sometimes I think we focus too much on the negative, on the things that aren't going well, and we need help with this and so forth. And I really like to just bring it back to, well, what are you doing well? Let's talk about that. Let's highlight that. Fortunately, again, because we're able to bring our creativity to IMEC, we were able to create a journey map, a DEI journey map, which we're able to then share with the manufacturers that we sit down with. And we kind of just go bullet by bullet and just say, what are you doing well in this area? What are we doing well? And let's highlight those strengths before we start focusing on the things that aren't going well. And so I think that's replicate that I saw within IMEC when I first joined, and I want to replicate that same thing with the manufacturers we're working with.
Boy, and again, hats off to you guys, because IMEC is taking a leadership role, really, like MEPs around the country, if you will, by taking charge of the DEI. And so not only walking the walk, because if you don't feel it internally at the culture, Paula, it's hard for you to go out there and express that with your manufacturers. So it's just wonderful to hear that at IMEC, they're talking the talk, walking the walk, bringing these tips, strategies, to manufacturers. Simone, I'm going to slide back. So Diane says, hey, gotta love it. Website, SEO, e-commerce projects. I got so carried away, I didn't finish my thought. If you go to B2B Tal, my shameless plug website, we've had the honor and privilege of interviewing multiple folks from IMEC, and we actually brought your clients on our LinkedIn Live show, and they just rant and rave on how amazing and how wonderful it is working with IMEC. So they, I've got this real boring little background here. You guys have these wonderful backdrops. If you see any videos with these wonderful backdrops, that's IMEC. Check those out. So again, if you're like, oh, gee, you guys have kind of caught my attention. I'd love to work with IMEC. Well, we have case studies right here from our LinkedIn Live shows talking about this. Paula, I want to come back to you, and let's take a deeper dive into like some strategies. Okay. Let's say I'm a manufacturer and, struggling with workforce, it's been challenging. Boy, man, has it been challenging the past 2 years, right? And I just want to, I'm committed to building a nice, diverse culture, but maybe I just need some guidance. For manufacturers, they are throwing on multiple hats all day, every day, right? 1 minute I'm doing finance. Next minute I'm trying to figure out operations. Next minute a machine just broke down. Next minute I find out supply chain is, a vendor's not supplying a part that I need yesterday, and now I'm trying to figure out my workforce and culture. So I'd like to sit down, just catch my breath for 1 minute, help enlighten me a little bit. What are some strategies? As I've owned my manufacturing business for 30 years, and I need some fresh ideas. Paula, how could you help me with that?
Sure. I like to always start with defining diversity. So diversity is all the attributes that make us unique, that differentiate us. But at the same time, it's the similarities that we have in common. And it's beyond the visible traits that we commonly hear about race, age, and gender. I really like to start there because it includes all dimensions. I hear too often manufacturers say, "Oh, we don't have diversity within our organization," or "I don't have a large pool of diverse people to pull from to hire more diversity." But it includes all dimensions. It's physical and mental abilities, it's sexual orientation, education, family status. If you're a veteran, if you're a single parent, if you're incarcerated, geographic location. I like to share that I wasn't born in the United States. I was born in Colombia, South America, but I was raised in the Midwest. And that's so different from someone who was raised on the East or the West Coast. So we bring our own diversity. So it already exists within organizations. So I like to share that definition because I like people to start thinking about their company as a company that already has diversity. When we already acknowledge that and we start embracing the current diversity, and take some intentionality to create an inclusive environment, then we can start recruiting more diversity into the workplace. And I say it in that order. We need to embrace what we currently have, then start intentionally creating inclusive environments, and then go out and recruit more diversity. And if we do it in that order, then you're not running the risk of losing people that are coming in because when they get there, they don't feel like they belong. They feel like there's no inclusivity, and then they may leave for another organization. So I really think that order is so important. But yes, I share with people, and if I can go on and on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I always talk about, what are the different backgrounds and skills, and if people have different experiences, they have broader perspectives when they're brainstorming, when they're bringing solutions, and it's going to lead to so many benefits. It's going to help with the business overall success. It's going to help with overall community. There's going to be job creation. There's going to be economic growth. So there's so much return on investment, and there's tons of studies out there around the different returns on investment. And then one last thing I'm going to share is that diversity has existed for a long time in manufacturing. If you think of Rosie the Riveter, how she exemplifies, 6 million women joining manufacturing. Our industry is a trailblazer for diversity. I think what we need to really look at is equity and inclusion. How do we start making some strides towards that? And then when we start having those conversations, feeling comfortable with it, making it a priority, then we can embrace it. And we're already talking about people. We're talking about hiring, recruitment, skills training, company culture. So indirectly, we're already having conversations around DEI.
Right. Man, I'm a history buff. I couldn't love what you just said more. And when you think about say the early auto days, even pre-auto days, when you think about immigrants coming, just like you said, like with your parents, immigrants coming from Europe, Eastern Europe, Northern Europe, and different walks of life, the whole shift of the Southern migration to the North to hit other factories in the 1910s, 20s and what have you. So, it's always been there. And it's just like, how do we do it better? Like how can we just as a country, boy, we're just so much stronger when we work together. And I love what you're describing, Paola. Simone, how about, can you chime in a little bit? I know you're the marketing guru. Can you just share from your background, your history, any walks of life, any tips, strategies to share on like, how can we really focus and build a nice, diverse culture at a manufacturer?
I think being open to hearing other people's opinions, and being willing to like break the norm and not go the normal way. Like instead of always doing things just because we've always done it this way, guess what? There's another way. There's more than one way. Maybe your way isn't the best way. And maybe this person who you maybe not hold as high of a regard, they may have a way better idea, more innovative idea than you. So I think listening to your employees and being open to what you may have thought was impossible.
Right. Drop the mic, Simone. Say that again. Open your mind.
Be open to what you thought may be impossible.
Just be possible, right? Just be possible. Be authentic. Just be genuine. I learned I'm part of a mastermind group. I learned. So Google did a huge study on diversity and what have you. And so this is not I'm an e-commerce guy, so not my area of expertise whatsoever. But a term, psychological safety. So Paola, with your walk of life, is that a term that you're nodding your head? Is that something you're familiar with? Does this tie in with our DEI conversation?
It most certainly ties in. I think that's where we need to start with psychological safety. When you create an environment that is psychologically safe, you have employees that feel like they belong, they feel like they're included, they feel like they can contribute without the fear of being shut down. And when you have that, you open up a space where your employees feel like they're loyal, they're dedicated, and they want to stay there. You're going to reduce your turnover rates because your employees are going to be more committed. You're going to see their efficiency, improve because they're going to see that loyalty with the strides you're making in your environment to creating a psychologically safe environment.
So is that term, has that been on your radar? Like, has that been part of your walk of life with your training, what have you? So it's not new to you, correct?
Mm-hmm. No, it's not new. And it's one of the things that we emphasize a lot when we're working with manufacturers is we bring up psychological safety.
I love it. So in this, and again, you have to, I don't even know what to even Google, but it was like the Google's, high impact study. I don't know if anybody's familiar with this study, but the 5 levels were number 1, psychological safety, dependability, structure and clarity, value. And what, like both you just said, like what attracted you to IMEC? Like Simone, you gave me chills when you're like, the you joined a cause, like you treat your job like a mission. And lastly, impact. So those were the 5. And again, I can't do it justice. And it was a professor from Stanford on this call that I was on yesterday. He was enlightening me and sharing all these powerful impacts. And he's like, it's not, we'll talk about, trying to do all these little different things, maybe money or so on and so forth. Like those were the 5 things. So Paola, for someone that's like, hey, psychological safety, I guess on the surface, I understand that term. Can you just take a little deeper dive on like, what does that mean to somebody new? Is there a psychological safety 101 that you could share with folks?
Yeah. So I would say when you're, one of the things that IMEC offers, so one of the service offerings we offer are engagement surveys and focus groups. That's an opportunity to listen to your employees, to understand what they're valuing. Because sometimes as leaders, we think our employees are thinking a certain thing. But when we do those engagement surveys, we get to see their perspective, hear their perspective, and we can customize some of the questions around trust, around belonging. Do they, is there safety? And I'm not just physical safety, but psychological safety. What that means is, do they feel like they can share their ideas? They can come to you with concerns. They can see an issue and bring that to you instead of overlooking it. And so if we get that perspective, we can start making some changes within our organization. If we bring education and training to our leaders around what does psychological safety mean and how does it impact our organization and how can we make changes towards improving our organization, and goes back to that feeling safe to contribute, feeling safe, feeling like I'm included. For example, if you're, you hire someone new, even though they're hired and they're already on the payroll, they're still excluded because there hasn't been that intentionality to include them into something. So if we have, for example, a buddy system in place where we can pair them up with someone, and that buddy is introducing them to different people, that buddy is having lunch with them, that's helping them feel part of the team, feeling like they're included. That's psychological safety. That's one step in psychological safety, but there's several other steps in it too. Hopefully that helped answer what you were asking.
That was the buddy system, and I love, earlier you said, beyond visual traits. I absolutely love this, creating that safe, what a competitive advantage this creates. And so, Simone, let's throw on our marketing hats, right? So we love to preach, hey, let's stop being the best kept secret. So for manufacturers out there, say small manufacturer, again, we talked earlier, boy, they're doing HR 1 minute, finance the next minute, trying to do operations. Oh, by the way, I need to market my company, right? I need some sales to keep the pipeline going. When you're helping like you're doing marketing for IMEC, you also out there, say helping manufacturers with their marketing strategies. I want to dig into that in 1 second, but just look at what a powerful competitive advantage of having that diverse culture brings for manufacturers and how that can be part of your marketing message. Can you share a little bit about how that diversity can be a great piece for your marketing message?
I think one of the biggest advantages of being diverse and inclusive is you will retain a stronger, more dedicated workforce. You will become an employer of choice. You'll be more attractive to people, and you won't necessarily be one of the manufacturers crying because you can't find quality people to come work. The people are out there. You just have to find them and look into different pools that you normally won't look into.
Yeah. And Simone, I want to kind of jump in because I want to be all very transparent. We're not there as a MAP center, as IMEC. We're not, leading the way as we would want to be leading. So we're in the beginning stages too, but we really feel that it's important that we lead simultaneously with our clients. So we hear a lot in this DEI space. You hear a lot about representation. Are we hiring people, more women? Are we hiring more people of color? And the reality is, if we're not working with our manufacturers to understand the importance of career advancement, skills training, how can we hire more representation when we're not leading in the industry? So I think it's important for us to be transparent in saying that we're also in the initial stages within IMEC. We created a framework to lead our clients, our manufacturers, but we're also following that framework so that we can also improve in the same journey.
Yeah, I love that, Paula. And again, I appreciate your humility and, just saying, hey, we haven't perfected it. I'm comfortable saying, is there a company out there that has truly perfected it? I'm sure there's some companies that are doing extremely well. Maybe they're cheerleaders leading the charge. And again, this is, I'm an e-commerce guy, so I want to pretend that I know what I'm talking about. But I think, the collectively, the raising our hand in that effort of like, we want to be better. Not just we want to do better, we want to be better. And how do we vastly improve this? So I think, again, working together, this communication, maybe an ounce of patience of like, hey, we're not there yet. We haven't arrived, but boy, are we full on our way. So any thoughts on that comment there?
Oh, that's me?
Anyone. I just threw that up for anybody, right? That was just
I agree with both of you. IMEC has definitely been not just talking the talk, we are walking the walk. Like we started in-house, and then that's how Paula came on board because we don't know how to do it. So we hired an expert, and she's teaching us as we're learning how to teach manufacturers how to do the same.
Yeah. So, you know what? So while we're there, let's, I dropped a few names. Let's talk about your team. Let's take a deeper dive on some of your teammates. I know, Paula, you're new to the team, 9 months in. Simone, you've been rocking it for 4 years now. I mentioned Melissa. I mentioned Michelle. So again, manufacturers out there like, boy, I'm really digging what you guys are talking about. This is fantastic. Let's take the next step. Describe maybe the hierarchy, how like your regional advisors work, or like, how does this whole IMEC thing? I want to get engaged. I want to work with you guys. Walk us through some of the names, some of the players, and how does this process work? Simone, I'll start with you, then Paula, I'll come down to you. So Simone, how does this work on that first engagement?
First engagement, there is a regional manager that is located in or nearby, literally all over the state. If you live in Illinois, there's a regional manager nearby who can help you get started with working with IMEC. Yep. And if you are an organization with resources that we can use to help manufacturers, we have a process that you go through as a third-party resource, and you would work with Melissa Zerbel. She's a resource manager, and become one of our partners like you are. And yeah, regional managers, and then the tech specialists, they come out, deliver the solutions. And then you have the team of marketers led by Krista Johns. We help spread the word about what IMEC is doing, what manufacturers are doing. And that's the gist of our organization.
And that's perfect. And a lot of, we've covered, so you guys had an amazing program with Grow Your Future, which covered like, different digital marketing, e-commerce, SEO. There was Wesleyan Greer did an amazing job, and a bunch of other third-party resource partners helped with like filling the pipeline, sales, social media, that type of thing. Paula, we're talking a lot about diversity. Talk a little, and I guess maybe Simone, I'll come back to you on this. You guys, I'm a manufacturer. You guys, not that you try to be everything to everybody, but boy, you have a deep, deep bench of subject matter experts. So as far as like lean, operational excellence, ISO, talk about some of the, let's go through some of the menu items, some of the services that IMEC offers that you deliver to help those manufacturers, especially those, as a manufacturer, boy, they're in a silo. Like I said, they're putting out fires all day. They don't need to be alone because they can lean on you. So with that, Simone, talk about some of the menu items that you guys offer.
Yeah, we can help, like you just said, literally all areas of business. So from leadership development, TWI, workforce development, we have a program called Career Pathways in manufacturing, where if you have your existing workers can learn and develop their skills, or if you have new people coming on, we can train them to develop their skills. We'll work with manufacturers to develop a completely customizable training program specifically for their company. ISO, AMTS, Advanced Manufacturing Technology Solutions, anything that has to do with automation or Industry 4.0. And there's so many of them.
There's a lot. And so the thing is,
Risk
and again,
management, cybersecurity, all of it.
yeah, thank you. Cybersecurity. So again, not that IMEC tries to be an expert in everything, but boy, they try to line themselves with experts in that subject matter to help you as a manufacturer. So again, you're putting out a fire, you have a challenge that you're facing, could be importing, could be exporting, could be, some type of bureaucratic, man, I want to rip my hair out, which I already did a long time ago. But if you're stressed and you feel challenged, boy, reach out. And if you're outside of Illinois, you're like, hey, wait a minute, they have all these great things going on in Illinois. You absolutely want to reach out to your local MEP, whatever state that you're in. Paola, as you've come in 9 months ago, we keep mentioning, any pleasant surprises since you've joined the team? Is she frozen? She might be frozen. How are you doing, Simone? Are you doing? You doing all right?
Well.
Hey,
One
Simone.
thing I wanted to add, real quick, if we happen to not have an expert in a certain area, we do have partners that we have access to resources that can provide the expertise that's needed to help a manufacturer.
Absolutely. And what you can do is you can grab people from other states. So that's a nice thing is, the MEP in Indiana is at Purdue University. You can go to Ohio, has multiple MEPs. So again, if there's not a subject matter expert on their team, they reach out to a third-party resource, or they have a whole other 50 states. So Paula, hey, welcome back. How are you? So as you joined 9 months ago, as we keep mentioning, any talk about like any pleasant surprises or like, your engagement with your manufacturers? What's, when they reach out to you, what does kind of walk me through that process? I reach out to you for the first time. How does that engagement go? Can you walk us through that?
Sure. I wouldn't say there's no surprises. I know that everyone's in a different journey, and we want to meet them where they're at. So,
so good.
I mentioned earlier about us having a journey map. We purposely created it so that we can have the conversation with the clients, and that's one of the things that I like to share with them. And we kind of talk about some of the things that they're doing well. Again, I mentioned how too many times we focus on the negative. So let's highlight what you're doing well. And sometimes we don't think about some of those things. So our journey map helps us. There's also a DEI assessment that we offer. It's very short. It's guided self-assessment. I'll walk clients through it as well. Help them to start thinking outside the box. Simone mentioned it, stepping out of that comfortable zone and thinking of the impossible. Sometimes we're doing so many things, but we're not connecting the dots to DEI. And so when we start talking through and tell me a little bit more about that. Tell me a little bit more. Oh, you're talking about multi-generations. You have 5 different generations working in your manufacturing plant. That's DEI. Oh, you're helping high schoolers, you're going and opening up your doors, giving tours. That's reaching the younger generation. Maybe they have a partnership with a jail and they're going and doing some skills development. And so they're not making those connections. And so that's really the purpose of our assessment, and the purpose of our journey map is to help them to start talking through it and thinking outside of the box of what they've traditionally known.
Yeah. Oh, that is so good. Man, I love that. Simone, all right, I know we could chat all day. I know you guys are super busy, so I want to be mindful of your time. Simone, you've done amazing job putting out. I don't know any organization that's more aggressive with webinars, workshops, trainings than IMEC. Boy, we've been blessed with some great speakers. We've covered topics like PR with our dear friend Sharon. Rosemary did a great job on stepping up your virtual game. We have Allison DeFord, Ray Zagano. Talk a little bit about some of the webinar programs. I know, Paola, we'll talk about, you have a big one coming up on Thursday. But Simone, talk about from some of the great webinars that you guys have been putting on and what you have coming up for September.
Yeah, we just finished a series of growth webinars with you and some of your colleagues, really just designed to educate manufacturers and how we can help them achieve their goals to grow and build up their e-commerce, grow their social media platforms, get found online by implementing SEO strategies, and know that we have a couple coming up with you and Nicole Donnelly and how to implement inbound marketing strategies.
Yep.
Damon is doing one on the 22nd around how to leverage online marketplaces.
Yep.
And yeah, we have a ton coming up, and even some around workforce development that are all listed on the IMEC events page.
Perfect. And hopefully it's, if you guys can see it in the chat box, I dropped it in earlier. So if you check it out, it's just go to IMEC, go to their website, and you check out their events. They have all sorts of great content, great subject matter experts that are delivering high level solutions for you. Boy, just this lineup that we have Chris Harrington coming up, talking about configurators. We have Max Krug, like you mentioned, Damon and Nicole Donnelly. We have we had a bunch of speakers from August, but boy, that party is just going to continue on. Now, Paola, you are moderating a wonderful program this Thursday. So folks don't want to miss this. If you are having any challenges with supply chain, this is a can't miss event. Paola, do you want to talk a little bit about what's going on Thursday?
Sure. Well, I'm excited because we have amazing female talent sharing their expertise in supply chain. They have a wealth of experience and knowledge. They'll be talking about supplier diversity and the benefits, which make businesses more resilient and agile. They'll be sharing tons of resources, so it is a webinar to watch. Our guests include Sarah Scudder, CEO of SourceDate and host of Manufacturing Maven, Sneha Kumari, Senior Supply Chain Manager, and DC Mansfragola, founder and CEO of New Gen Architects. So just a lot of information is going to be shared that day. So it's an opportunity to hear some resources and solutions that are out there.
Absolutely. 3 dear friends, all 3 of these wonderful, amazing individuals have been, we've been blessed to have them on our program. High energy, and boy, you do not want to miss this. They are subject matter experts. Simone, I think, as a matter of fact, I dropped it in the chat box next. We're actually doing a fun inbound marketing. You mentioned next Wednesday, the 15th, 11:30 Central Time at IMEC. So, guys, as we wind down, how about parting thoughts? So, you shared with me your heroes growing up. I love that you shared that with me. Paola, I'm going to start with you. Okay, as we wind down, we're can you believe it's already after Labor Day? Like, what the heck happened in 2022, right? Where's the time going? But as we're coming in, you have a new career and you're just bringing your passion, your expertise, your superpowers to IMEC. Who or what inspires you today? Okay, we talked about mom and dad being your inspiration as a little girl. Like, who and what is inspiring you? And what are you looking forward to the rest of the year at IMEC?
I haven't really thought about who inspires me now. I can share that I was in healthcare for several years, and the CEO of who led the organization for many years really was an inspiration to me. She was a strong female leader, someone I looked up to as a role model. I just loved her tenacity. I loved how she asked tons of questions and she trusted her employees. If there was an idea, she said, run with it. Let's figure it out together. I loved that about her. And I loved her presence when she presented. And when I was in that industry for a long time. So when I first started, I always said, one day I strive to be like her, to be able to speak and share more. And the opportunity is now within IMEC where I can come back to manufacturers and share my experience and what I've learned. So I think of her when I want to move forward with things.
That moment of silence right there. That was just beautiful. Thank you, Paola. And you know what? As I've been building friendships with so many of your teammates at IMEC, and what I feel, it's just this contagion. It's like a contagious enthusiasm, but it's like an entrepreneurial spirit. So, Paola, as a newer employee, do you feel that you have an entrepreneurial spirit, like you're describing, like that freedom, that psychological safety that we're talking about, that trust of just kind of like, hey, we're all going to make mistakes together, but boy, we're going to go for it. Do you kind of like, that's what I'm kind of sensing from you today?
Yes, I definitely. And I go back to that interview process where I say that they interviewed you because they were trying to capture all the skills and talent that you could bring, all the potential you could bring to IMEC. And then they want you to run with it and share your ideas and your expertise. And I see that within IMEC. So definitely, I would agree with what you just said.
Awesome. All right, Simone, I'm coming right back at you with the same question. So who or what inspires you today? What are you looking for? Like, you just absolutely hitting the ball out of the park here for IMEC. Who and what inspires you as you not close out, but as we're kind of winding down our 2022, if you will?
Yeah, so what inspires me today is what led me to IMEC, or what drew me to IMEC in the first place, is knowing that we as a company make an impact on the entire state, not just on manufacturers. We just do it through helping manufacturers. And it's seeing the numbers at the end of the day of like the impact results, like knowing that we help over 1,600 companies in 1 year. Like, I've never worked for a company where I can say that I was a part of that.
Right.
That's my inspiration, knowing that I'm making a difference. Even if it's not a direct difference, I'm contributing to that difference. So.
This, no words for you guys. There are no words. So, all right, first off, thank you for spending your time with all of us here today. Anybody out there, give a huge round of applause. If you're catching this on a replay, give a big round of applause. I've got to give a shout out to Damon. Damon, dude, you missed a great session today. My goodness gracious, what a gift and blessing this was. So, Simone, thank you. I deeply appreciate you. Appreciate our friendship. It's an honor and privilege working with you. Thank you for sharing your inspiration with all of us today. Paola, thank you. Love the mom, and what an inspiration and the courage it took for them to come here to the States and just look at these products of what manufacturing can do for you. How about one last question for you guys? I can't let you go just yet. One last question.
Mm-hmm.
There's a young person out there and they're trying to plot out their career. What would you have to say to them about why are all the cool kids going into manufacturing? Paola, you want to kick that one off? Why should this young person take the plunge and follow their career into manufacturing?
I think because there is opportunities there's so many different opportunities available. So whether you're, math savvy or tech savvy, there's that opportunity. If you like business, if you like HR, I think we need to look outside of what we think is the traditional manufacturing and look at the entire picture and see that there's an opportunity in different sections where you can start in the beginning on the assembly line, just like I did, and start moving up. There's that career path. So I would say that those are the opportunities. And I know you said to speak to the youth, but if there's anyone listening that's not youth, but that has the opportunity to share it with the youth, share with them the love you have for manufacturing. Share it as though it's a career and not just a job. I hate when people say, oh, it's just a job. It's a career, and there's so many places that you can move within it, and you can move out of it and go into something else. And you mentioned entrepreneur. You can run your own business and be a manufacturer owner. There's just tons of possibilities.
Tons of possibilities. Simone, can you want to tie into that? A young person out there, or maybe even not so young out there, why are all the cool kids pursuing a career in manufacturing? Why should they find you call it a cause. Why should they join the cause?
Well, I agree with everything that Paula just said. In addition to like what Paula said and making a difference, like you get to work in an industry that's never going to go away. Like the world literally won't exist without something being manufactured. So that's how I would sell it.
Hey, man, drop the mic for both of you guys. So, hey, we're going to close things out. Thank you both. I appreciate you more than you know. Thank you for anybody out there listening. We appreciate you spending time with us. Reach out to your local MEP. Boy, if you're fortunate enough to be in a great state of Illinois, you want to reach out to these two fine young ladies. Connect with them on LinkedIn, and you can learn all sorts of things by going to the IMEC website. So, hey, we wish everybody an amazing week. Again, supply chain, great program, Thursday, 11 o'clock Central. Connect with these guys. We have talking about supply chain. We have a supply chain guru, Anna McGovern, is going to be speaking with us on Friday about supply chain as well. So we wish everybody an amazing, incredible week. Paola, Simone, hang out 1 second. Thank you guys. Go out and keep crushing it. Hang on. Stop being the best kept secret and hey, go manufacturing, right?
Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you.